What do you make of his suggestion that public companies stop reporting quarterly earnings and in fact move to twice a year, every 6 months? I mean, I think I know a lot of companies that would prefer that, but I'm curious to get your point of view.
Joanna, honestly, there are very few things that I agree with Donald Trump on, but that may be one. When I used to be much closer to watching the economy every minute, and I was labor secretary, and before that I was at the Federal Trade Commission, I actually suggested that companies have to take a longer-term view of what they're doing, and these quarterly reports force them into a very narrow, insular, and a kind of a view that runs against the long-term interests of the economy. So this is not necessarily a bad position to take.
And the markets seem to have now priced in the volatility, don't they? I mean, the stock market is up 15% this year.
Well, it's a very good question about whether they've priced in volatility. I don't think markets price in arbitrary and capricious and impossible to predict decision making. Volatility is one thing. Yes, I mean, there is going to be a lot of volatility whenever there's any kind of a change in administration, whenever there is a lot of tumult in the world, given Israel and given Putin and given everything else that's going on. But arbitrary and capricious decision-making really is something that the markets cannot price in because, again, it's outside anybody's control and outside anybody's potential vision. All that they're pricing in, and I worry that they're going to price in more and more of this, is uncertainty.
Robert, it's no secret that Donald Trump appears to have made at least $5 billion in the 8 months since he was inaugurated. Any thoughts on his crypto holdings?
This is pure corruption. Let's not beat around the bush. When history is written about this administration, one of the first lines in the first paragraph is going to be about the extraordinary payoffs that were made to Donald Trump. Some of them violating the emoluments clause of the Constitution that says, foreign powers cannot pay off a public official. But some of them are just nothing but attempts to curry favor with Donald Trump. And crypto has opened the floodgates to that kind of currying of favor. It is a scandal. But unfortunately, there's so many scandals with regard to this administration, it's difficult to come out to really focus on one.
Who should actually be policing that most effectively? Is that the SEC?
Well, the SEC should be doing that. And the Commodity Futures Trading Corporation could be doing it. The SEC is now run by a Trump lapdog who has huge crypto holdings and has basically allowed crypto to do whatever it wants to do. And the crypto industry has become so rich that it's paying off members of Congress in terms of campaign contributions, including a number of Democrats. And so it is, you have this kind of a doom loop with regard to what it can get away with. So the whole thing is a market that is based upon nothing but expectations that some bigger fool is going to come along and buy even more crypto that you can get rid of. This is like the tulip craze in Holland. This is just a matter of when is it going to explode? We all remember what happened in 2008 with regard to many.
The credit swaps.
many assets on Wall Street that were derivatives of derivatives and derivatives of derivatives, and you can go for a while and you can build and build and build, but eventually you can't, and eventually somebody gets left holding the bag. That's what's going to happen with crypto, but crypto is even worse because the only purpose of crypto, as far as I can see, is hiding illicit, illegal, often immoral transactions that violate all sorts of international laws and rules. It also uses up a lot of electricity, a lot of environmental damage, a lot of water from areas of the country that don't really have all that much. There's no redeeming social value in crypto at all.
The subtitle for your book is A Memoir of America, but what is America at this point? What should we be most concerned about?
Well, I am most concerned, Joanna, about the loss of freedom, the loss of our rights, constitutional rights. Everything from the First Amendment, the right to speak, the right to assemble, the right to due process, the right not to be arrested without due process, the right not to be disappeared off the streets without due process. We have a constitution that provides a lot of guarantees, a lot of bulwarks against a rogue government. We have a rogue government, but we also are discovering that we don't really have a set of mechanisms to guard those constitutional guarantees. The federal district courts have been doing, I think, a credible job, but it's very hard for individual judges, and the administration keeps on appealing those cases. The Supreme Court, who knows? I mean, so far they've allowed Trump to do pretty much what he wants to do, beginning with John Roberts' totally indefensible position that a president can get away with doing anything the president wants as long as it's arguably part of his official duties. But there is also a failure of the leadership class in America. And by leadership class, I'm talking about everyone from the people who run media companies to religious leaders to people who are university presidents who keep telling me they don't dare speak out. There's a kind of overall fear that has descended upon people who have responsibility in this country, and their responsibility, excuse me for expressing my view here, but their responsibility is not just to their organizations like ABC or CBS or Columbia University or their law firm. Their responsibility, if they're leaders, true leaders, is to the country as a whole, including our democracy, including the rule of law, including the Constitution. And so that, to me, is also a real concern.
So you mentioned that university presidents are telling you that they're fearful. Clearly, business leaders are fearful too. I've had several conversations with prominent CEOs who just don't want their heads above the radar. How do we, or what should leadership look like at this point? And I mean, one of the complexities, I think, is that Donald Trump was elected, right? And secondly, we say the First Amendment has been attacked, but there are still plenty of people, us included, able to speak freely about what we're concerned is happening. So how do you manage to balance all these contradictions?
Well, I don't think there are many contradictions here. I mean, first of all, we don't have any idea how much speech right now is being chilled. We know that a lot of people left, for example, CBS News, 60 Minutes. They resigned. We know people resigned from the editorial board of the Washington Post. We can see the resignations. We just don't know what they have agreed to suppress, or what kind of suppression went on that led them to resignation. So when you say we have free speech, I'm sorry, we just don't know how free it is right now. And when we see Jimmy Kimmel and the executives of Disney and others caving in, it's a pretty awful set of circumstances and an abdication of responsibility. I was talking recently to a business leader who was very upset about what's going on, and I said to him, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to put your name to a petition? Are you going to stand up and really be counted? And he said, oh, no, I can't do that. I have too much at stake. And I said, what do you mean you have too much at stake? He said, well, I have deals that are pending. Well, the more people, Joanna, who have positions of responsibility and positions of leadership who say, well, I don't dare put my head up because I'm going to be, I'm fearful that I'm going to be targeted by this administration. They are complicit. They are enabling this kind of tyranny.
So why don't the Democrats put together a bunch of CEOs, so there's some strength in numbers, and get them to speak out and say this is unacceptable?
Well, I wish the Democrats would, but Democrats themselves, if you're talking about congressional Democrats, many of them are nervous. They depend on a lot of big money for their campaigns. They depend on CEOs and Wall Street. They don't want to bite the hands that feed them. They certainly don't want to put the hands that feed them in an awkward position. So I'm not sure that a lot of Democrats have the will to do anything like you're suggesting.
Well, good Lord, if Democrats don't have the will to do it, then what is to become of us?
Well, exactly. I mean, there's an old saying, we are the leaders we've been waiting for.
Right. It's a good phrase.
I never really paid much attention to that phrase. It's always seemed to me kind of idealistic. Mm-hmm. But at a time like this, it may be the case. It may be that we, average people who are not cloaked with the offices of formal authority, who are not presidents and CEOs, and who are not heads of organizations and members of Congress or the presidents of universities, maybe ordinary people have got to take more leadership responsibility here in this crisis. This is a catastrophe.